All right, the next step is to reach out to your list. Now, this is like sales Bri for a second, just like bear with me. Invite them to a 30-minute interview and don't do what I did. I was scared to ask people for 30 minutes, so I asked them for 15 minutes because I was like, oh, I'm so sorry for taking up space in your life. Here's the thing, people love to talk about themselves. Interviews are a space where people can like understand more about themselves. They're like forced to articulate things in a way that they've never considered. So don't feel like you're not giving a gift in an interview, and be confident in what you're offering and what this is going to do for your business too. So first of all, reach out, make sure that it's a 30-minute call, not 15 minutes. 15 minutes was way too short. And I'll go into more detail on how that unfolded a couple times. The other thing that just when you're like, oh, you just feel discouraged or you're like, nobody responded, which is totally normal. Just hear this voice right now. Follow up 3 times, okay? If nothing else, just to trust, I beg of you, trust the process. Statistically, like it's something like 10% of people respond the first time, or like even less than that. That number does not change the second and third time you reach out. Now, the fourth time, which is your third follow-up, that statistically, the number of people who will respond to you after a fourth check-in jumps up to like 90%. Okay. So what I'm not telling you, do not do this and then come back to me and be all upset. What I'm not telling you to do is say, hey, Mortaza, I'd love to set up a call. And then 2 days later, hey, Mortaza, how about that call? And then 3 days later, Mortaza, what about that call? And then 4 days, that's not what I'm saying. So here's a general outline for how you can structure these. The first outreach is an invitation. The second is a short follow-up 48 hours later. The third outreach is assuming that it's a bad time. So, hey, I haven't heard from you. I'm going to assume it's a bad time. If it's all right with you, I'll check back in a month because I still really think that I could learn so much from you. The fourth outreach is your one final check-in. Hey, Alex, I'm so glad we got to connect that one time. I haven't heard from you, so I'm going to assume that the ideal member interview isn't on the books for us, but if you ever need support in anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, so you're not pushing, it's not spammy. You're just letting them know that you're there and you're doing the effort of remembering, and you're putting forth the effort to prompt them without expecting them to do it for you.
I just want to, can we stay on that slide just for a second? Like, I want to just emphasize how important it is to do this and to build like actual good follow-up structures. I think what Bri said is 110% correct, is like, you will actually get the majority of your responses from the follow-ups, not from the initial email, just because people are busy. Like there's stuff going on and there's like, and if you've never done this kind of a follow-up structure before, it does feel a little bit weird and aggressive the very first time you do it. Like Bri said, you got to trust the process. Like I promise you, every sales rep is doing this. Like this is the standard for how these things grow and scale. And so just mimic and copy for right now, and you'll get the chance to like add your own flavor and, do a little bit of jazz down the line. But this is an incredible follow-up structure to follow. And the last thing as you're doing this is like, don't save leads while you're doing this. Don't like keep a couple emails of like, oh, these are the really, really important people and I'm going to do them when everything is perfect and I've got everything ready. Just throw those people in the mix. And to a certain degree, it's about quantity right now. Like obviously don't spam and don't like, be awkward and spammy and all that. But, just pop people into the funnel, give them really thoughtful and targeted emails, and like don't save those leads for later. Because I think that's the other thing, that when you're first jumping into sales like this, it's hard to recognize that you got to keep hitting the numbers and like getting meetings, because jumping into those calls with people will just be an absolute world of learning, and every one of those compounds and makes a bigger and bigger difference.
Yep. You will learn more from conducting these 10 interviews from your ideal members than if you paid me $10,000 to teach you everything I know. I promise. Well, everything I know is worth a lot more than $10,000, just for the record, but that would be a steal. But absolutely, Mortaza. And I'll add to that. I can't tell you how many times, and for potential clients I'm following up with, like this is not a sales call, what we're trying to do. It is a member interview. It is not your role to sell. You're I guess in your email, you're like selling them to get on a call with you, but it is not a sales call. Now, for actual sales calls and potential clients I'm reaching out to, there have been so many times where I reach out a fourth time and people are like, I'm so glad you reached out. Life has been crazy. This is a priority, but here's the new situation. So don't sell yourself short and try to predict the future and try to mind read. Just go through the process and the results will unfold.
And then as we're still on the slide, Renee asked a really great question. Are these individual private emails that you're sending?
Yes. Yep. Always individual, always personal. I try to include like some note, like at least a little line of like connection with that person that's personal to them. Great question.